Just a janitor, they said about Angela. But when 47 hostages' lives were in danger, the woman they had overlooked would become their only hope. But let's go back to the beginning. In Angela Martinez's locker lay an old photograph, one of the first female commanders to lead Delta Force operations in classified missions overseas. 12 years ago, after a mission went catastrophically wrong, she had left everything behind and become a quiet hospital janitor at Mercy General Hospital in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. At 48 years old, Angela had weathered bronze skin and sharp dark eyes that seemed to notice everything while appearing to see nothing. Her black hair was always pulled back in a practical ponytail, and she wore the same navy blue Mercy General maintenance uniform every day. She moved through the hospital corridors with quiet efficiency, her cleaning cart squeaking slightly as she navigated around doctors, nurses, and patients who rarely bothered to acknowledge her presence. Every morning at 5 a.m., Angela would badge into the hospital, collect her cleaning supplies from the maintenance closet, and begin her routine. She cleaned operating rooms with military precision, sanitized patient rooms with systematic thoroughness, and maintained the emergency departments with an attention to detail that her supervisors appreciated but never questioned. What the hospital staff didn't know was that this wasn't just janitorial diligence. It was tactical reconnaissance that had been drilled into her for 20 years. The maintenance supervisor, Frank Rodriguez, a good-natured man in his 60s, often praised Angela's work ethic but never thought to ask about her background. "Just keep doing what you're doing, Angela," he'd say with a friendly nod. "You're the most reliable person we've got." Mercy General was a busy, Level 1 trauma center where everyone moved with purpose, and Angela blended into the background like part of the equipment. She worked alongside other maintenance staff, Carlos, who handled plumbing and electrical issues, Diana, who managed laundry services, and Tom, who worked security and always treated Angela with the courtesy he showed everyone. The medical staff saw her as the dependable janitor who somehow always appeared exactly when needed. When Dr. Sarah Chen spilled coffee in the surgical prep area during a busy trauma shift, Angela had materialized with cleaning supplies before the doctor even finished cursing. When Nurse Jennifer Walsh needed help moving a heavy patient bed, Angela had been there to assist, with a strength that surprised everyone. "She's like a ghost," the residents would joke. "You never see her coming, but she's always exactly where you need her to be." The patients and families appreciated Angela's gentle manner and her uncanny ability to appear during moments of stress with exactly the right supplies or a quiet word of comfort. She spoke fluent Spanish and English, often serving as an informal translator when official interpreters weren't available. Subtle signs of Angela's background emerged for those who knew what to look for. She moved through the hospital with exceptional situational awareness, unconsciously noting exit routes, security camera positions, and potential choke points. Her cleaning cart was organized with military precision, every supply in its designated place for maximum efficiency. When the hospital conducted active shooter drills, Angela had impressed the security team with her knowledge of defensive positions and evacuation protocols. "Have you done this training before?" Tom had asked. Angela had simply shrugged and said she watched a lot of news. Most telling was her reaction during medical emergencies. While others panicked or froze, Angela moved with practiced calm. She had an uncanny ability to anticipate what medical staff would need during codes, appearing with equipment before anyone asked. Her understanding of trauma protocols seemed unusually sophisticated for someone without medical training. Last spring, when a gang member had been brought in with gunshot wounds and his associates showed up making threats, Angela had quietly positioned herself near the emergency entrance, observing the situation with an intensity that made the agitated visitors decide to leave. Dr. Martinez, the ER attending, had noticed her calm competence. "Angela, you handled that really well. Ever think about security work?" Wednesday, November 8th, started like any other day. Angela was restocking supply closets on the 3rd floor when she heard what most people would mistake for construction noise or a car backfiring. But 20 years of combat experience had trained her ear to recognize the distinct sound of automatic weapons fire. At 2:30 p.m., 4 armed men in tactical gear burst through the main entrance of Mercy General Hospital. They moved with military precision, immediately securing the emergency department and main lobby, trapping 47 people inside: patients, medical staff, visitors, and security personnel. The sound of gunfire echoed through the hospital corridors, followed by shouting in what Angela immediately recognized as Arabic. She heard Dr. Chin's voice over the hospital intercom. Code Silver, this is not a drill. All personnel initiate lockdown procedures immediately. Angela felt something shift inside her chest, a familiar sensation she hadn't experienced in 12 years. The civilian Angela Martinez, who cleaned floors and emptied trash cans, began to fade away, replaced by something harder and more dangerous. Angela abandoned her cleaning cart and moved swiftly to the maintenance room, where she kept her emergency supplies, what her supervisor thought were just extra cleaning chemicals. From behind a false panel, she retrieved a tactical vest, communication equipment, and other gear she had hoped never to use again. Moving through the hospital service corridors and ventilation system, paths she had memorized during 12 years of daily cleaning, Angela began conducting reconnaissance. The attackers had positioned themselves strategically: 2 in the main lobby controlling the hostages, 1 guarding the emergency entrance, and 1 in the administrative area accessing computer systems. Their movement patterns and equipment suggested professional training. This wasn't random violence. It was a coordinated operation with specific objectives. Angela accessed the hospital security system through a maintenance terminal, using skills that would have surprised anyone who thought she was just a janitor. She could see all camera feeds, monitor radio communications, and observe the attackers' positions in real time. Through her earpiece, she could hear the lead terrorist communicating with someone outside. Target secured. Beginning data extraction. Maintain position until transfer complete. Angela realized this wasn't just a hostage situation. It was a cyber attack, using the hospital as a base to access sensitive medical databases containing information on government officials and military personnel. As Angela moved through the hospital's hidden passages, muscle memory took over. Lieutenant Colonel Angela Martinez, United States Army Special Operations Command, Delta Force. 20 years of the most classified and dangerous missions in hostile territory. She had led operations in places that didn't exist on any official map, against enemies who operated in the shadows. She had been one of the most decorated female special operations officers in military history, known for her ability to infiltrate hostile environments and neutralize threats with minimal collateral damage. Her specialty had been hostage rescue operations in urban environments, exactly like the situation she now faced. But that had been before Operation Ghost Protocol, before the mission in Syria, where faulty intelligence had led to civilian casualties that haunted her dreams. When the mission failed, and good people died because of decisions she had made, Angela had requested immediate discharge from active duty. She had chosen to work as a hospital janitor, specifically because hospitals were places where people were saved, not killed. For 12 years, she had convinced herself that she could live a quiet life, helping people in small ways without the weight of life and death tactical decisions. But looking at the security monitors showing terrified hostages, Angela realized that some responsibilities you can't walk away from. Angela used the hospital's ventilation system to position herself above the main lobby where most hostages were being held. Through her tactical scope, she could see the 2 guards, one watching the hostages, the other monitoring the entrances. At 3:15 p.m., she initiated contact with the Phoenix Police SWAT team through their encrypted channel. This is Lieutenant Colonel Angela Martinez, United States Army Special Operations retired. I'm inside Mercy General and have visual on all targets. Request permission to engage. The response was immediate. Ma'am, can you verify your identity? We show no military personnel on hospital staff. Service number 4478 Delta 77 Alpha, clearance level Ultra. Contact Fort Bragg for verification. I'm telling you I can end this with 0 civilian casualties, but I need your support. While SWAT command scrambled to verify her credentials, Angela moved into position. She had identified the perfect approach: neutralize the two lobby guards simultaneously, then systematically clear the other positions before the remaining attackers could react. At 3:22 p.m., Angela Martinez dropped through a ceiling tile into the main lobby of Mercy General Hospital. The terrorists guarding the hostages turned at the sound, but Angela was already moving. 20 years of combat training took over as she neutralized both guards with precision strikes that incapacitated them without firing a shot. The hostages stared in shock as their hospital janitor, a woman they had barely noticed for 12 years, stood over two unconscious terrorists while speaking into a tactical radio with the calm authority of a military commander. What happened next would be classified at the highest levels, but the results spoke for themselves. Working in coordination with SWAT teams outside, Angela systematically cleared the hospital of all remaining threats. She used her intimate knowledge of the building's layout to approach each terrorist from unexpected angles, neutralizing them before they could harm hostages or complete their data theft. Her movements were precise and efficient. No wasted motion, no unnecessary force, no civilian casualties. The terrorist in the administrative area was attempting to download classified patient files when Angela appeared behind him. "End of the line," she said quietly. And he was unconscious before he could reach for his weapon. By 4 p.m., all 4 attackers were in custody, all 47 hostages were safe, and the attempted cyber attack had been stopped. The only person injured during the entire operation was one terrorist who had resisted arrest. When SWAT Commander Williams entered the hospital, he found Angela calmly helping medical staff treat the hostages for shock and minor injuries. "Ma'am," he said, still processing what his team had witnessed, "that was the cleanest hostage rescue operation I've ever seen." Angela nodded quietly. "Just doing my job, Commander." 6 months later, Angela Martinez sits in her new office at the Department of Homeland Security, where she serves as Director of Hospital Security Protocols. The position came with a personal request from the Secretary of Defense. After the Mercy General incident became a classified case study in counterterrorism operations. On her desk, next to the old photograph of her Delta Force unit, sits a new picture. All 47 hostages from Mercy General, healthy and smiling, gathered around Angela at a private appreciation ceremony. In the center of the photo, wearing her new DHS credentials instead of her blue maintenance uniform, stands Angela Martinez, no longer hiding who she really was. Frank Rodriguez visits her office every few weeks, still shaking his head in amazement. 12 years, he always says. 12 years you cleaned our floors, and I never knew you could save the world. Angela just smiles. Sometimes the most dangerous battles are fought by the people no one sees coming. She has learned that you can't run from who you are, but you can choose how to use who you are to protect others. And sometimes, the person emptying your trash might just be the person who saves your life. Like this story? Hit the like button and subscribe for more inspiring tales of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Who is the most underestimated person in your workplace?